We're back again for the continuation of our discussion. So part 1 ng aming video, we discussed the self-assessment, how to execute self-assessment, and the examples of self-assessment. These are KW chart, highlighting, self-reflection, and rubrics. We also discussed the learning log and its benefits. And for today's video, i-discuss naman namin ang mga tips on helping your children with their learning log, and of course, the last subtopic, which is the collaborative writing. So guys, bear with us and listen carefully.
Now let's proceed to the tips on helping your child with their learning log. Although learning log are supposed to promote independent, child-led learning, there are nevertheless ways that you can support your child's work. So, tip number 1, encourage your child to talk about their tasks for the week. So, why it is important to talk or communicate with your child in their learning tasks? With that, because as a parent, we should know about what our children's doing toward their learning log. And as the children explaining about their tasks in a week, it helps parents to consolidate about their child's understanding and focus their mind on the direction or information they want to take. Tip number 2, set aside some time for your child to complete their learning log. So, parents should provide a time for their children to accomplish their learning log. For that, children not only giving their time to play but also to do their responsibilities as a student toward their learning works. And with that, parents must lead their children, because there are some cases that children like to do a little every day while the other prefer to do in one session. So tip number 3, offer ideas for how they might present their work and give them access to the resources they need, whether that's the internet, information books, craft supplies, and etc. So, in case that your child have difficulty to do their learning tasks or presenting their work, as a parent, you must provide resources or materials that can help them to gain more ideas which they need in completing their tasks. So, tip number 4, encourage your child to try different way of filing in their learning log, rather than doing the same things every week. So, exploring your child to do other things. And with this learning log, try to encourage your children not to stick with the same routine as they do in their learning tasks. For that, they can gain more knowledge and understanding regards on what they take. So, lastly, tip number 5. Look at your child's finished work with them and help them to evaluate what they've done. After your child accomplishing the learning log, as a parent, you should look at your children's work, and with that reason, this will give you a credit as well as your children to reflect and rechecking in order to make a good output or task within their learning tasks. So now let's move on to the collaborative writing. What is collaborative writing? Collaborative writing or collab writing is a method of group work that takes place in the workplace and in the classroom. Collaboration can be defined as individuals communicating, whether orally or in written form, to plan, draft, and revise a document. So in collaborative writing is often the norm rather than the exception in many academic and workplace settings. Some theories of collaborative writing suggest that in the writing process, all participants are to have equal responsibilities. So in this view, all sections of the text should be split up to ensure the workload is evenly displaced. All participants work together and interact throughout the writing process. Everyone contribute to the planning, generating ideas, making structure of the text, editing, and revision process. In addition, collaborative writing proposes a more flexible understanding of the workflow that account to varying contribution level depending on the expertise, interest, and the role of participants. In collaborative writing, there are 3 processes. We have the planning, drafting, and revising. So now let's proceed to the planning. Planning includes everything that is done before writing. In collaborative writing, this is a particularly important step since it's crucial that all members of the team agreed about the basic elements of the project and the logistic that will govern the project's completion. So after the planning, we have drafting. Drafting refers to the process of writing the paper. We've called this part of the process drafting instead of writing the highlight of recursive nature of crafting or a compiling paper, since strong writing projects are often the product of several rounds of draft. So in drafting, it can be individual or together. So in individual, each group member has his or her own portion of writing to do. So take note that brainstorming the main points of this or of your paper as a group is helpful, even if separated parts of the writing are assigned to individual. So you'll want to be assured that everyone agrees to the central ideas. So where does your individual writing fit to the whole document? So how about in drafting together? In drafting together, the group actually meets to compose text collaboratively. Writing together may not be feasible for longer assignments or papers with co-authors at different universities, and it can be time-consuming. However, writing together does ensure that the finished document has one cohesive voice. Talk about how the writing session should go before you get started. What goals do you have? How will you approach the writing task at hand? So many people find it helpful to get all of the ideas down on paper in rough form before discussing exact phrasing. Remember that everyone has different writing style, and the most important thing is that your sentence should be clear and readable. After the planning and drafting, now let's move on to revising. When we say revising is the final stage in the writing process. It will occur after a draft, either of a particular section or in the entire paper, has been written. Revising for the most writing projects will need to go beyond making line edits that revise at the sentence level. Just like in the drafting stage above, that you can choose to write together or individually. In addition to revising, if your group has drafted part of the document separately, merge your ideas together into a single document first, then focus on the meshing the styles. The first concern is to create coherent product with a logical flow of ideas. Then the stylistic differences of the individual portions must be smoothed over. So revise the idea and structure of the paper before worrying about the small sentences level errors like problem with punctuation, grammar, or word choices. So in revising, it's also important the proofreading. When we say proofreading, the check for typos, spelling errors, punctuation, problem, formatting issues, and grammatically mistakes. So reading the paper aloud is very helpful strategy at this point.
Let's proceed to the benefits of collaborative writing. First, it builds students' confidence, especially among those students who are lower-level writers. According to Chen 2018, helping each other, the students create a collaborative community that enhances each member's better performance. Collaborative learning has been shown to not only develop higher-level thinking skills in the students, but boost their confidence and self-esteem as well. Second, collaborative writing opens the door to more creativity and ideas as brainstorming begins and the synergy builds. Synergy means the cooperation, teamwork, and the combined action of two or more persons. Brainstorming helps students to develop creative solutions or writings. Collaboration encourages students to talk about their writing. In peer review sessions, students have to field questions about their writing and they have to explain and sometimes defend their writing strategies. Third, working together prepares the students for real-world employment where writing in teams may be a routine expectation. Students need to understand how to communicate, compromise, share, and express their ideas, thoughts, and opinions so that they can be a valuable contributing member to any writing activities, because working together makes writing more stronger. Lastly, Weaknesses like grammar, spelling, punctuation, word choice, storytelling skills, etc. can be addressed as students utilize and play upon each other's strengths. Of course, if both students using these strengths, if they work together, they can help each other to check and understand precisely the sentences and paragraphs. They can also increase their vocabularies by sharing each other. Teamwork improves productivity and brings better writing results. Let's now proceed to collaborative writing activities for elementary students. Writing is typically thought of as a solo activity, but with a little creativity, there are plenty of ways that your students can collaborate on writing projects. Writing activity number 1, partner interviews. We can use this activity to encourage our students to get to know other classmates outside of their usual group of friends. Students can ask their partners all about their favorite colors, foods, sports, hobbies, or whatever else they can think of. This will help them remember what their partner's answers were so they can begin writing about their favorite things. They may even develop new friendships while they build their writing skills. Writing activity number 2, World of Superheroes. This activity is a great way to tap into children's love of superheroes and generate excitement for a writing project. Divide the students into pairs and have each pair decide if their story portrays them as superhero partners, a hero and a sidekick, or maybe even a superhero and a supervillain. Students of all grade levels will enjoy using their descriptive writing skills to tell you all about their heroes or villains' powers and costumes. Writing activity number 3, Animal Working Together. This writing collaboration project ties in perfectly with the Science and Nature unit on animals. This writing activity is an opportunity for students to work on their informative writing skills and have them tell about their animals and the reasons why they work so well together. Example, the Carabao and the Kanaway. Student A write about one half of the pair and his or her partner write about the other half. For more creative approach, students can develop their animals as characters. They can tell stories about how their animals met from both perspectives. Writing activity number 4 is Snowball Fight. This activity is a perfect opportunity to encourage students to work together and teach them the peer reviewing process. The teacher will divide the students into groups and have them pass their stories around so their classmates can provide feedback. This activity really encourages students to be creative as they have to continue a story that they did not start, and it challenges them to put on their thinking caps and create a cohesive, albeit silly, narrative. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.